So first of all, I want to say is that Magic Eye is like the most talented marketer I've ever met. This dude came up to me and was like, "Yeah, dude, I generate leads for like life insurance businesses and things like that before. I've kind of learned about wholesaling. I think it's something I could do." Okay. He started sending us some leads, and we started to close one in every 9 leads he sent us. This is fucking insane numbers. So he really knows what he's talking about. He's been to all kinds of different marketing masterminds and has learned all about running ads and all this different stuff. And he has agreed to come on today and to show you guys how you guys can start running ads to find wholesale leads for yourself. So, Magic, I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to come on and teach us all, myself included, on how you run these ads and why they're so successful.
Yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate that introduction. Yeah, super cool to see you guys here. I know a lot of you guys have your cameras off, probably just listening in, so that's cool. But yeah, if you can, I'm gonna do a little bit of a presentation here. I have a slideshow ready for you guys. So um,
I just enabled. You should be able to share your screen now.
okay, cool. Yeah, well, I'll just share it. I'll dive right in. Um, Full screen here. Cool. Present. Sweet. All right. Um, Before I begin, let me see. How can I see everybody? Okay, yeah, here we go. I was gonna ask, how many of you guys are already running inbound marketing right now? Like ads, any sort of PPC, anything like that? Like, I'm curious on how many of you guys are doing that right now. Maybe just drop like a one or something in the chat. One. Okay.
Us.
Not really that many people. Gus is okay. Gus knows what's up. Gus is probably crushing it. Okay, cool. I was just curious just to get a baseline kind of where everyone's at. So it doesn't look like a lot of people running it right now, but maybe after this presentation you guys will want to. Um, re Let me get back over to here. Yeah, so the reason why I feel like, I am pretty qualified to talk about this is I have been in lead gen for about 5 years now. That was, way back when like all the gurus were promoting, starting a marketing agency and like this was like a hot thing back then. That's when I got involved. I have spent about $1 million of my own money, my own revenue on ads up till this day. So I've gotten a lot of experience with ads and I have a pretty good understanding of most of the platforms now and how they work and what's best for certain situations. But so far this year I've generated over 5,000 leads for just real estate wholesaling. So these are just motivated distressed sellers. So that's obviously a lot of people and it's made a lot of money. So um I've done this with a lot of pretty big wholesalers as well. I've worked with guys like RJ Bates III. I've worked with Tyson here, obviously. I've worked with Jacob Blank. I've worked with a whole bunch of other guys, Quentin Flores, Mike Martinez. I've worked with like a lot of guys. So I got to kind of see, what these other guys do in terms of inbound marketing and also see their backend systems. I've seen everything from people who don't even know what they're doing all the way to the guys who have the highest conversion rate I've ever seen. So I've got a pretty good understanding of this. And so hopefully I can like drop some value on you guys today. Um, and yeah, and then at the end, I'm gonna go to Q&A slides. So if you guys have any questions, just hold on to them and then we can go through those at the end. So yeah, so today I'm just gonna be going through these slides here. What's the power of inbound leads, the benefits of leveraging them, understanding the seller's journey, which is crucial because you got to know exactly how do they go from a lead all the way to a point where you locked up the contract and now you can dispo it. Um, creating engaging content, which is just the ads part, implementing lead capture strategies, nurturing, qualifying them, leveraging data, the power of team motivation, which a lot of guys don't talk about, but I wanted to talk about that on here. So I'll mention that. And then just like a quick case study, and then we can do the Q&A. Does it sound good? Sound good, guys?
I love it.
Cool. All right. So My definition of an inbound lead is just super simple. It's literally anybody who expresses interest in being contacted about the product or service being advertised to them. So this isn't somebody who, filled out like a, like a giveaway or anything like that, because those ads don't talk about what's actually being sold to them, right? Um, Inbound leads are people who know exactly why they're going to be called, when they're going to be called, and they're not clueless. So why are they so important? Really, there's three main reasons. One is the predictability of them. You can really, really dial in how often you're getting these leads. Two is you're going to increase your deal flow. And three, your team's going to be motivated as fuck to close a lot of these deals. So, um, there's a huge difference between the two. Inbound is people coming to you. Outbound is just, you're cold calling, you're sending text blasts, things like that, which definitely works, but takes a lot of volume, and you never know what you'll get. Like, you may end up getting a great deal or you may not. It just kind of depends on a lot of factors. So, I've had clients go from closing like 2 to 3 deals a month to literally over 10 just from implementing inbound. So, like anything, you have to, pay to play. So inbound isn't cheap, but there's a reason why the biggest players are using it, right? There's no way you can scale past 100,000, 150,000 a month without implementing some sort of inbound marketing. So that's just the honest truth with inbound right there. And then there's a few benefits, like I was saying, the predictability, right? You can control exactly how many leads you're getting per day, which means your team is going to be really motivated. They're going to know that even if all the cold calling doesn't work, they're going to have people who, they're going to have people that are still coming in that are really hot, and they're most likely ready to sign, today if you're a good closer. So predictability is huge. Increased deal flow. I mean, it's pretty simple. The more leads you have, the more deals you'll get. And then your team's gonna be motivated. Like I said, they're gonna be wanting to stay on your guys' team compared to, Tyson or some of these bigger guys where, all their acquisition reps have inbound coming to them. So why would they not want to go work for them compared to you, right? So, they'll be making more money because they're talking to more highly motivated people, and they're just gonna be happier when you have inbound coming in. So that's something I've noticed. So the seller's journey. This is really, really, really simple. It's just where the seller starts from to where you're going to lock up the deal. So there's only 4 phases, at least for me. I consider them 4 phases. Phase one is just the seller encounters distress and they need to sell their property. And then phase two is where they see your advertisement, or they go on Google and they search for, help for whatever that distress is. It's just like with any service, right? If you need a haircut, you go and search for it. And the algorithm between the platforms communicate. And if they go search somewhere on Google, Google sells that data to Facebook, and, vice versa, YouTube, everything starts connecting, and, these people will be able to see your ads. So they're going to see your ad. Then they're going to submit a form to get contacted. And then the final phase is the sales process, which is your acquisition team or you are going to call that lead, and, you're going to lock the deal up. So super simple. It's nothing crazy, but it works really, really well at scale. And there's a few ways to do this, right? The inbound marketing usually is, for real estate wholesalers at least, is usually on YouTube, Google, or Facebook and Instagram. These are like the 4 channels that pretty much every wholesaler uses. I don't really know any other channels that work really, really well, but I know, you could probably get creative on TikTok and whatnot. I haven't figured that out, but these are really the main channels that you want to, run them from. And I suggest picking one to start with. I don't suggest doing all of them because they're all different and they all have different skill sets and different ways of working. So I would just pick one, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. So here you're just going to want to implement, some sort of strategy for capturing the leads. This is also pretty simple. You just want to have a landing page. You can literally hire someone on Fiverr to do that. Super easy. And you want to have tracking on that page so that the ads can track whether or not someone filled out the form or not, and then you know if the ads are even working. And then you want to have a CRM. Your CRM is probably the most important part of your whole business, but especially with inbound marketing, you want to have your data very, very accurate, or else you're going to have no idea what's working or, if you're even profitable, right? And a lot of guys give up on inbound because they don't even have their numbers right. They might be profitable and not even realize it. Or they might be spending money for no reason, and, they don't even realize their landing page is like 0.01% conversion rate, which is like terrible. So your CRM's
that was our problem.
Oh yeah?
The landing page, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit more actually. A lot of people mess that up. But landing page is pretty simple. Like like what works for me is something really super basic. I think, yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit more. Like from what I've seen, like pages that are really complicated and there's like tons of like reviews and numbers and like all these things, like the person just gets overwhelmed, or they get really curious and they start looking on Google and they start filling out other people's ads. So my landing page is super simple. It's just like a form. It's literally just a form that says, fill this out if you want to sell your property. It's like that simple. So yeah, don't overcomplicate that.
I'd write that down, guys.
Yeah, if you're gonna run ads, do that.
But I like how simple it is, and what you said about, right, either too complicated, they get lost, or they get too interested and they start looking around other places. Where I like where yours is just like direct. Hey, fill this out right now. That's it. Anyway,
Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. You're good. If you have any questions, let me know. You guys have done this. You guys are doing this, so you guys know what to watch out for too. But yeah. So that's just what you're gonna send them to. It's just a landing page. Have them fill out a form, and then that's where from there the lead's sent to your CRM, whether it's Podio or whatever CRM you're using. You can do that pretty easily with like Zapier or something like that. So for the ads themselves, a lot of people overcomplicate this as well. But if you want to be really, really dialed in about it, like you're going to want to speak to the seller through your ads just like you would like over the phone. So, there's a lot of different types of motivated sellers, right? I just listed 12 right here, like foreclosures and divorces and like all these different types. But what you can do is just in your ad copy, talk to one type of this, and you can use ChatGPT to come up with this. You can just say, ChatGPT, write me 4 or 5 ad copies that will target motivated sellers going through job loss or through, divorce or foreclosure, something like that. And you can split test these. But if you target one type of seller, it will be more expensive. Just keep that in mind. So you could just keep it general and broad, but if you want like extremely qualified people that why they're filling out your form, if you talk to them with this way, you'll know, okay, most of these leads are probably foreclosures, or most of these leads are, landlords that are burned out or whatever. So that's how you can kind of differentiate what kinds of leads you're getting through your ads. So, and just like anything, just test it out, right? If you're doing like Google ads for your local market, there might not be that many people going through like divorce for some reason, but maybe there's tons of people, that are dying and they're losing their property. So all these other people are inheriting it, right? You just kind of do some research on what people are kind of going through, depending on where you're targeting. So, and yeah, it's really simple as that. So yeah, the ads, just covered that. But really the most important part is the nurturing and the qualifying them. This is where everybody messes up. This is where I have clients that are crushing it versus the ones that have no idea why the leads are quote unquote terrible. It's not the leads. It's because their qualifying process and their follow-up process literally sucks ass. So this chart right here, you can look this up. Just look up speed to lead conversion rate. From 1 minute to 2 minutes, you're already losing probably half the deals that you could, literally within that amount of time. That's how That's how important this is, right? And let's just say you were on the phone with the seller. That's why it helps to have a VA or somebody who can at least call the lead and qualify them a little bit instead of waiting half an hour. And you're now, instead of closing 400%, you're closing maybe 36% of them, right? Or I don't know how those numbers line up there, but you get the gist. It's just unbelievable how like much of a difference this makes. So if you have a CRM, I would recommend using automated follow-up for at least when they come in. So I would have something that can send them a text, an email, and even maybe a voicemail drop if your CRM does that. But ultimately, you're just going to want to call them like ASAP. So if you're already running inbound, or if you've ever tried inbound marketing, you've ever tried maybe iSpeed a lead, for example, the reason why a lot of those leads don't close is because there's a process on their end where they're held for like 24 hours before they let the public buy them. So that's why iSpeed a lead has problems with their quality. Whereas guys like us, or with some other lead companies, like they try to send the leads as soon as they come through so that this phenomenon doesn't happen. So just keep that in mind. If you're running your own, just want to make sure you're calling them as soon as possible. Yeah, and then the data and analytics part. You could keep it as simple as having a spreadsheet, just making sure that you're tracking your cost per acquisition, your conversion rate on your landing page, and your cost per lead. Those are probably the three most important KPIs I would look at when you're running ads. But really the cost per lead is probably the biggest thing, because if your cost per lead is going up, either means your ads aren't doing good, or it's because the quality is increasing. So don't be scared if like your cost per lead's like $30 or $40. It could mean that you're just getting really highly qualified people coming in, right? But there's also a chance that your ads just are not good. So split test that and just make sure that you kind of have a pulse on where your cost is. So yeah. And then your sales numbers too. You want to make sure you're tracking, okay, if you have acquisition reps, you want to say, okay, how fast are my reps calling these leads, right? Because if we go back to this, and your reps aren't calling quick, then you can't blame the ads, you can't blame the leads. You gotta talk to them and say, hey, like, I'm paying all this money for leads. Like, we need to make sure we call these literally within a minute. So keep that in mind if you have like acquisition guys. And I mean, and just in general, running a business, you should have your numbers pretty dialed in anyways, but especially when you're paying money for marketing like this, it can be really pricey and you don't want it to like go to waste. So yeah, so then this leads up to the power of team motivations, right? So I want you to ask yourself this question. If you were an acquisition rep on a wholesaler's team, right, and they weren't sending you motivated sellers like every day, but then you have a friend that works for a different wholesale company saying, oh yeah, like every day we have these sellers that come to our phone, and we lock them up on the spot. Like, who do you think you want to work for, right? Like, you want to work for the guys that are making you cold call, or do you want to work for the guys that are sending their reps, fresh leads like this all the time? So if you have a team, keep this in mind. You probably going to want to have inbound marketing, especially for your team, because it's just going to keep them a lot more motivated, and they're going to be closing more deals, so they'll probably make more money if they're on commission. Just a lot of different reasons why the team will like these. I mean, Tyson, like, can you give an example? Like, what happens when an inbound lead comes with your team? Like, I'm sure they're probably pretty stoked, right?
I mean, yeah, well, they're immediately number one is you ask what happens. Shit's immediately called and people fight for it. Like, the lead comes in and it's like, right,
Yeah.
the first person to get it gets it, right? Or like when we have like another form of inbound leads we get is direct mail. And like, so all of a sudden everybody's phones ring and it says like direct mail on it. And people are like fucking scrambling to be the one to answer it because we know that those are super hot leads. But yeah, they get really excited about it. Now we're still doing cold calling and that because
Mm-hmm.
like Magic I said, very expensive for inbound leads. And when you have a bigger team, it's like we need a lot of leads to feed all these different people. And so cold call still does very well for us. But yeah, I mean, this is what
Mhm.
they get excited about.
For sure. Yeah, and that makes sense. You got to be doing the cold calling and stuff too, because like it's not like these leads are rolling in like every 2 minutes, right? So
Right.
your team's got to do something on the downtime. Um, so yeah, but some teams, some wholesalers, they use a lot of inbound. Like most of their time is spent on inbound leads. It just depends on how good you are at sales, I think. Because if you can really scale inbound, then and you crush at sales, like it may be worth your time more to work just inbound leads than cold call, right? So it just depends on your numbers, I think. Um, and so yeah, this is just a case study. Like this is one of our top clients. His name's Jacob Blank. I don't know if you guys heard of this kid, um, but he's made over 7 figures in profit from wholesaling since, I mean, before 21, which is just crazy. Like I don't really know many kids that are already millionaires before they can even go to the bar. But this kid is absolutely a crusher. And I mean, right now, like just from us, he locks up nearly 20 contracts every month just from inbound. And that's on top. That's not even including all the SMS marketing. That's not including the cold calling. That's not including referrals or whatever else deals that come his way. So, he's crushing. And I mean, inbound changed everything for him. So he also hasn't had any employees leave since 2021, which is interesting. He's fired people, but people don't want to leave him because I think of, the one, he has a really pretty nice office, but two, it's it's because his guys, are being fed really, really well. So yeah, that's just an example of like what could happen if you implemented inbound. Um, and so yeah, that was it. I mean, I kept it pretty quick and simple here, but you know, like I said, inbound marketing can really change your business, big time. And then, like I said too, make sure you're choosing one marketing channel first, get good at that one, and then you can do others. But honestly, I would just scale the fuck out of whatever is working until you can't anymore. Um, and then have your KPIs dialed in, your numbers, and then your speed to lead. Speed to lead is really, really important, and then the follow up process as well. So yeah, and if you say, "Oh man, I don't even want to try to figure all that out," let me know. That's what we do. Leads Connect. My contact info is right there. And yeah, that's really all I had for you guys.